first of all, top of the list, we're going to welcome Brian, who's a Pennine member recently and also a member of the Oldham Club. M0PLZ in the group. M0AG. Good evening, Brian. M0PLZ in the group. M0AG. From Brian this time around. Over to Northern Germany now to Mike and Adriana. DL1BJW with DLA-BDT in the group. M0AUG. Over to you, Mike, please.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Very good evening to one and all, and especially to you, of course, Jeff. And we're okay over here, thank you, and hope everybody else is also doing okay. Last week were some things on the edge of theme, so to speak, which are worth to be mentioned. First of all, there was CW contest, or not exactly, it was an OC contest, Oceania contest in CW this weekend, and we tried to work VK in CW with 100 watts and a vertical antenna. I had high hopes for it beforehand, but nevertheless it was very difficult to get through, because there were lots of contestants, and I actually succeeded twice to work a VK4 station, or two VK4 stations then, but this was not the time where you are working long path in the morning European time, but in the evening. So it was on the short path there, and I had to try for quite a long time, but in the end succeeded, and that was nice, but it was very difficult. Otherwise, on the FT8, FT4, I had the luck to work Sierra Uniform Zero Echo Romeo Alpha in Cairo, Egypt, in FT4. That was nice, was something I had been hoping to achieve for quite a long time, but now it was successful, that was okay. The SU call signs are, in my opinion, very rare, so that was quite good to come through there and get a report back. Yeah, so much for this over. More the next over to come. Passing the microphone now to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, very good evening to all of you. This is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango group. Yes, here in northern Germany, weather conditions are not so good. It's not cold. It's about 14 to 15 degrees, 15 degrees centigrade here, but there are many rain showers during the day, and there is no possibility to work outside portable here, and therefore, yes, we are waiting for a little bit better times without rain, if they will come. But weather forecast for the weekend seems to be quite well. There seems to be sunshine on Saturday, so let's wait and see. Yes, yesterday's meeting, annual general meeting, was, I think, quite successful, and it was good to take part in it. It was quite productive, and I think we all can look forward to the upcoming talks in the future. It's very good to see how in any time in any year we'll get new interesting people who talk to the club and make talks with good and interesting topics. So that's all for the first over. I hand the microphone back to M0AUD for the
BGT with DL1BW, the BGW M0AG returning. Thank you, Mike and Adriana. Quite a few pops and clicks on your overs there. I don't know whether it's too close to the hotspot or whatever issue, but perfectly readable. But just mentioning that it was there. Yeah, the AGM was interesting. Personally, I would have expected that more members might have attended. If you look at the balance of the group, though, paid members versus free members, the balance is okay, and obviously the people who want to attend the AGM do so. Not everybody wants to attend the AGM, I must admit, but we did. Right, over to Lou down in Northampton there. G6KJJ in the group, M0AG. Good evening, Lou.
Yeah, good evening, Jeff, and very good evening to everyone in the group. For WX in Nottingham, we've had some sun today, which was a big improvement on the last few days, which have been misty and cold. Best temperature today, about 15 degrees, 11 degrees at the moment, it's not been a bad day at all. Band conditions for me have been mixed. Last weekend, HF bands were very lively. 10 and 12 metres has been open on several days this week. On Sunday and on Monday, spent some time working on my satellite project, but I'll give more information on the next over. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, GAKJJ.
GAKJJ in the group, M0AG, yes, fine, I like it. Apologies for calling you G6. Okay, there. Good to have you on again this evening, Lou. Over to you there, Andrew. Good to see you on the AGM last night. M0RO in the group, and M0AUG. How's life together?
M0AUG in the group, M0RO. Good evening, Jeff, joining us on the net tonight. Yeah, it's all right down in Minehead, really grey, a little bit chilly and a bit of a wind, but you get that on the coast. But all right at the moment. Good to see it on the AGM last night. I'm always surprised at how much the club does really with a dedicated group of committee members and members, and such a wide variety of speakers and talks and interests. It certainly shows that this is the way to go. So yes, as you said, not everyone enjoys an AGM, but it's a good way of getting to know what's going on. And I had to apologise a little bit to Rachel because my membership had lapsed from paid to unpaid because I didn't scroll down to the bottom of the email about the AGM Zoom details and see there's a link that I had to click. So I quickly signed up last night. I'm just waiting for the link from Rachel, so at least I can be a fully paid up member. Very little on the radio, I'm afraid, so I would like just to sort of be in the background and listen to what's going on. I've done some FTA, which I can't get too excited on about FTA. I get bored after about 10-15 minutes, but I'm working on the station manager to actually put a better antenna up here. so that I can spend my time on HF and getting some more contacts and hopefully use the club call sign at some stage. So that's really all the news from me. So if I can pass it back to G, this is M0ROL. M0ROL, Group M0AG returning. Yes, that's fine, Andrew, and good to have you on this evening. And I did notice that earlier on in the week that Dave G6ZSN actually logged on using DMR, and he obviously isn't on this evening, but he must have got his issues sorted out so that he can join us on DMR. So good to have you on the meeting last night and also this evening on here. Well, to you, Nick, G4IW, in the group M0AG.
M0AG in the group from G4IW. Good evening, Jeff, and good evening to everyone else here on the net tonight. Nice to see people again after last night's meeting. And temperature here, by the way, is 10 degrees. It's been like that for a few hours now. I think, suffering from the same very, very boring grey overcast cloud, which has been sitting over certainly the most of the UK, I think, for the last week or so with this high pressure. I think the weather's going to change at the weekend. We're forecast heavy rain here on Sunday, but sunshine Saturday, although not getting terribly warm. So, yeah, I agree with Mike and Adriana there that it doesn't really encourage you to go out and do any portable operating when the weather is like this, which is a great shame. Particularly because I've got some different antennas I want to play with and try out portable, but it does need to have a day when your hands don't get freezing cold, or of course you don't get wet. But I guess that's the delights of the winter months. And yeah, thank you everyone for your comments about the AGM last night. I know AGMs are necessary beasts to have. But not everyone wants to take part in them. But funnily enough, we had some people at the AGM last night who haven't been to any of the live club meetings for a while. But equally, we have people that come to our regular talks and watch them live rather than on YouTube, who didn't come last night. So it's a funny old world, but still very good. And it's lovely to see people in the meeting last night, and there was a nice chat afterwards, although I do know I left Ken and Mike and Adriana talking for some time. I don't know what. I didn't even bother to come downstairs to turn the computer off, but I think it was quite late by you'd finished chatting, so obviously very much enjoying that. And we've got some very, very interesting speakers coming up over the next few weeks, but obviously I'll talk about that later. So back to you, Jeff. M0AG in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO, the group M0AG returning. Yes, fine, and nothing. Look forward to hearing about the updates later on. As you say, AGM doesn't appeal to everybody, and some like AGMs, some don't, but it's one of those, isn't it? As long as the AGM goes through and everything's okay, that's fine. Over to you there, John. G3SAO in the group, M0AG.
M0AUG in the group, G3SAO returning. Yes, very good evening, everybody. It's been some time since I made an appearance on this net, so I thought I'd better make an effort. I did try to connect to the AGM last night, but I think I've possibly got an older version of Zoom, and it briefly connected me and then threw me out. So that'll have to be dealt with in the near future. But I did try and connect, but unfortunately I didn't make it. Yes, the weather. You've had the weather reports from Nick around here. It was actually, I think it got up to about 13 this afternoon. But it's been very grey and miserable. It's not been very nice at all. The good news for Mike and Adriana is that the high pressure is now moving east slowly, and it will leave us by Sunday, and it will be heading towards northern Germany, I expect. So you might get some sunshine in the near future. As for my activities, I'm still QLP. I'm enjoying it. I'm doing all sorts, and I'm also doing quite a bit of poker activity. And I had an interesting experience on Saturday. Those who know me know I do a lot of walking in the countryside on Saturdays, and I did notice that there was an activation of a park about 35 miles away from here by Owen and a couple of other of his colleagues, M0OGR, and I was walking in the near area, so I thought I'll take a handheld. So I took a handheld, and not only did I manage a contact with him, but I also managed to walk past his station and have a brief word with him. So that was nice, and it was nice to see that activity. It had a very good sight, not particularly high, but it had a very good takeoff, particularly to the east. And I think that they were quite busy on that activity. I've usually concentrated on the FT modes because I can get better results that way. And I have worked into New York State this afternoon with my 6 watts. And I have also worked a couple of poker stations today, one in Finland and one in the Netherlands. And the other, my timeout quietly reminding me I'm talking too much. I also managed the other day to to have a contact with a French station on CW, which I occasionally do. I can just about manage a poker exchange on CW. So I enjoyed that one. So fair mixture of contacts, really. Anyway, back to you, Jeff. M0AUG on the group, G3SAO.
G3SAO and group M0AUG. Yes, fine that, John. And a few squeaks and pops on that, although nothing that we couldn't understand. Okay, up to the borders now to Keith. GM4JKZ in the group M0AUG. Good evening, Keith.
M0AUG with the group from GM4JKZ. Yes, good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, evening, Jeff, and one and all listening this evening. And AGM I thought was very good. We probably note I sat quietly, but what I forgot to say near the end was if yourself or the other Jeff is either ill or on holiday, I'm quite happy to stand in on Thursday night until you're back. So I thought I'd put that one in frame unless anybody else wants to have a go. So radio-wise, or temperature-wise at the moment, 8.6 degrees centigrade up here. And interestingly enough, yesterday, took the dogs out for a walk down the road and saw one of our neighbours. And he always takes his dog out for 6:37 in the morning. And it was a thick pea soup up here yesterday, really damp and clammy. And he said he'd gone up over the hills and was expecting to arrive at the little burn that we've got here, the stream, and turn right to go back to his house. And he came across the road, which was to the left. So somewhere up on top of the hills, he lost his orientation. So I suggested he take a compass with him next time. But all's well, the road was just up the end from where we live, basically. So that was amusing. Radio-wise, I operated in the microphone last weekend, 194 contacts. The best TX I could make on RITI was down into Brazil and across to Japan, about 6,000 miles. And I thought I'd worked a new country, Tunisia, but I realised once checking the log off the same station in the last 3 RITI contests. So not a new country for me at the moment. And
And I did last week work GB 5100 and GB 0711 down in Selsey in Sussex. I gave the guy a call, mainly because he was an exhibition station down by the Selsey lifeboat. And I did say to him, I used to spend my summers down there, 6 weeks during the summer holiday when I was about 7 and 8 years old, back in the late 50s. And his station was about 100 yards from the Selsey lifeboat station. So I thought, what a small world. Once I looked him up, Adrian was an interesting station to work. But that's it for the moment. I'll put it back to you there, Jeff. M0AUG with a group from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ with the group M0AUG returning. First off, Keith, thanks for confirming that you'd be happy to work and run the nets if Jeff and I were able to do it. We'd sort of take that as read. It's nice to have the official confirmation, and I'm sure that Nick and I both appreciate that, so thank you very much for the offer. It is good that we can't always do what we want to do on the nets, and it is sometimes a bit of a trial when you try to run the event every week, and obviously I've had other commitments, and so has Jeff as well, so much appreciated that. Not seen anything of Bob this evening, or one or the others, but we'll go back to the top of the list. Brian has dropped off from the top there, so we'll go straight back to Northern Germany. DL1 BJW and DL8 BDT in the group. M0AUG. Over to you, Mike.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey. Yeah, thank you. Regarding what Keith just said about the RTTY contest, we also tried our hand in it, not really doing the contest, but for the contacts itself. And I would say it was very much better than the last RTTY contest I took part in, because the propagation was much better. And as Keith did, we also contacted the stations from South America, Papa Yankee, and the other stations, even Costa Rica from Central America, Tango India, and also station from Japan, and finally Santolina Island, Zulu Delta 7, which is always a highlight for me to achieve there, if it can be reached. But it was difficult. It was very difficult to reach other South American stations. I heard one from Peru, I think, and stations from Colombia and Venezuela, and I tried to reach them, but it didn't work. So there must be some difficulties with the hop, so to speak, to get the signal there to the western part of South America. But it was fun to do a little bit in the contest there. Otherwise, as you know, we are also experimenting with very low power, 500 milliwatts here on CW, and I've been on it again this afternoon, and propagation was good. I had 3 real QSOs, not only the 599 QSOs, but really with some overs going hands and forth, and was talking to Italy twice and once to Switzerland. And I'm looking forward to doing a lot more with 500 milliwatts, and perhaps even once get outside of the continent. That would be really very good. I'm striving to do that, but it also includes some work, HR. So far from my side, passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, this week was quite interesting and successful radio-wise. Yes, I think it was for a long time the best week I had. On Wednesday, yesterday in the morning, I worked ZL on with 100 watts output and the FT891, which we connected to the Ryberkopf antenna, and it was a CW USO, which was very special because for a long time, I think about over 20 years, I hadn't played CW, and during the COVID pandemic, I tried to brush up my CW knowledges, and it's not quite hot, but this was quite a success. I worked ZL3 XDJ, and this was very, very nice. So this was, I think, the best thing during this week. I can also report some tests with a Kanga kit for 20 meters, which we tried here to set up. It was quite amazing in receiving. It has only one frequency, only the 14060, and you can a little bit tune the frequency. I think it's maximum one hertz, not more. And normally with our other equipment, one can hear one station on 40060, but at the same time on the Kanga kit, you can hear several different stations, not very loud, but possible to hear, to receive. A few days ago, Mike heard CW QSO with a station from Chile, which made a CW QSO with an Argentina station. This was quite amazing. So the receiving side is very good, and the transmitting side works, but it's difficult to get contact because with 1 watt, it's if you only have one frequency, it's very difficult to get through if there are stronger stations there. So that's all from my side. I have the microphone back to M0AUG for
DLAPT with DL1 BJW, M0 AUG returning. Yes, fine on that, Mike, and yes, you do very well when you're still on a fixed frequency, and you're just trying to get on to 1 watt there. I spent most of last weekend, in fact, on the live Zoom for the series. It's the first time that I've not been to the convention since, I don't know, 2012, I think. I've been there every year, apart from the COVID one, all the way through, but not this year. I enjoyed it though very, very much. So, we'll see. Apologies everybody, just had to drop carry us to have a sneeze there, and you wouldn't have won the benefits of all that, and there we are. You don't have to do some experimentations there, but you do get some very good results. I was due to call back in then, M0PLZ from Oldham, because I see he's drifted his contact catch you when he comes back on over here. Otherwise, we'll have to go into some training. So, thanks again, Mark and Andre, for your contributions. Over to you then, Lou, KJJ in the group, M0AUG.
M0 EUG in the group, G8KJJ. Yes, thanks, Jeff. And it's always surprising how well low power it does. I mean, I don't do a lot of low power work, but obviously others are doing very well with it. Mike and Adriana and also John. I think John was saying that he was using 6 watts. Anyway. I don't really remember last week. I mentioned that I tried to work the ISS repeater, but failed. And so I decided to change the antenna system on the transmit side. For the uplink, I use an 8-element, so I used this weekend an 8-element lightweight portable Yagi, which I've had in the garage for many years. The Moxon Yagi, which I used previously, which worked quite well on receive, I left it on receive. And I tried the new antenna system on receive only on Sunday. And I was delighted to hear NA1SS working the ISS repeater. Mike Fink was the astronaut operator. And I wished actually that I had transmit working, because it would have been a great thing to work an astronaut. But that was very exciting. On Monday, I used the 8-element Yagi on the uplink and worked 2 stations through the repeater. Both were UK stations, G4, GBB, and MM0I. NH, I think. And that was good. I heard a lot of continental stations. I think many are using much more power than the 5 watts that I was using, because I did find it difficult to get into the repeater. I think 5 watts is about the minimum. I think many amateurs use a lot more power than that. I do have a picture this evening for sharing. It's a photo of the antenna array used on Monday. Very heat Robinson. Anyway, that's my news for this round. So back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group, G8KJJ.
G8KJJ in the group, M0AUG. Yes, well, often, it's surprising what it says low power, and people then tend to go and blast everything at it to get through. Not always the answer, is it? Not always the answer. Back to the convention. I would normally have been down there for the weekend, but I decided to travel down to Milton Keynes for the weekend with the prospect of a 4-hour drive back home on a Sunday. It's not for me anymore. So I enjoyed what I saw on the on their YouTube channel, the live stream. And it was very, very well put together. And I think they did an excellent job. So I said I wasn't going to want to joke, I didn't do it. So I'm looking forward now to the Norway Rally in Blackpool next April, which is quite local to me. And I think that is about the size of my rally interventions this year. Okay then, thanks for the offer of the picture, Lou. I'll pick that up later on. Over to you there, Andrew. M0 ROL in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG in the group, M0 ROL. I'm always amazed at Andrew and Mike's success with such low power. I wish I could replicate the same from my location in Minehead, but I think that it's a little bit of a noisy location with all the solar panels and we're to blame as well. I've just been looking at the radio, excuse me, to see what's going on. FT8 seems to be sort of streaming in from America and trying to find this one from China coming through, which is actually only a minus 11 dB stereo strength, so I don't know what output they'd be doing to actually get that, but yes, there's quite a few coming in, so conditions look to be fairly good. The CW, I'm afraid, still eludes me. I would love to be able to do CW in times when it's difficult conditions and I can go up on the hills with a 5-watt radio or low, but I'm afraid, despite the last couple of years trying extremely hard, including being a member of the Long Island CW Club, I think that the gap between the ears and the brain seems to be a little bit too far these days, and that it takes a little bit of getting into. So the next stage I need to do is to accommodate my wife's car, to actually go up on North Hill and put a back mount on the roof and perhaps just an amp pro and see what we can get. At least the conditions are better up there. I'm afraid my car just has a typical glass roof, which I didn't think too carefully when I changed the car, but it's actually unsuitable for almost any mobile radio operations. So that's the plan. So hopefully next week I should have a little bit more to say about certainly change that to outside. So I'll pass it back to you, Jeff. M0AUG in the group M0RLL.
Yes, fine, and that's Andrew, and I hope we manage to get out next week and actually achieve something very much like you. The art of CW has eluded me, and I think in my time as well, although I would love to have had a go at it beyond when I had to take it for the RE, I don't think it'll be something I'm going to achieve anyway. So, best of luck, mate, Andrew, and we'll catch you with you on that one next week. Now, Nick's very into very much CW, and I think it's probably your favourite note, isn't it, Nick? G4IW in the group,
M0
M0AUG.
AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yes, spot on, Jeff. I think 95% of my QSOs are made on CW, according to my logbook here. So yeah, CW is definitely my preferred place to go. And as Mike and Adriana have found out, if you can use low power, CW, in my view, is actually superb for that. So I've had a great deal of pleasure over the years running a QRP, still do QRP operations when I feel I want to do it, and I'll turn the power up if I'm really wanting to work some good DX, but also turn it down when it can be done and you can still be heard. But the Kanga kit is only putting out 2 watts of power, so it's you're getting at reasonably low levels, and of course with simple antennas makes life more difficult, and you'd struggle, I think, to be heard on single sideband. But on CW you've got a very, very good prospect of making some QSOs. It's a shame the weather hasn't been that good, because I was very taken. I posted it on the WhatsApp group, but Martin Lynch are selling a wire antenna which has actually been made for them by Pro Antennas, and it's a 2-element vertical antenna, 2-element beam, vertical beam, supported by 2 fiberglass poles, a few meters apart. And they claim 5 dBi gain on it, good directional quality to it as well. And all the information is available on the pieces of paper that Martin Lynch are advertising this antenna on, to see what the wire sizes need to be if you're going to make your own version. So that's something that I really want to have a crack at, because I think if you could get up and do some portable work, but also have a 2-element vertical beam, a Moxon, in the design of a Moxon, but vertical, not horizontal, I think that will be very effective, low angle DX working possible with that. And one of our speakers coming up at just trying to agree within the actual date, but end of November, beginning of December, is Carl W8WZ, who's a very active CW operator. He's in CW Ops, the club, and in their magazine in July this year, he wrote an article about his version of a 3-element vertical beam for HF, and he describes that. And I thought that would make a very interesting talk at the club. So we're getting Carl W8WZ to come and talk to us about that later in the year. And to John G3SAO, I'm pretty sure the problem with the Zoom is probably you've got an outdated version that isn't working. I would find, if you can find the Zoom folder you've put it into, John, there is an uninstall option inside the folder. Just uninstall it, go to the website and download the version that you need. I do know actually that Zoom will work on Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 10. So it's pretty well proofed for the upgrades that have been taking place. So there's absolutely no reason why there should be a difficulty running Zoom on virtually any platform whatsoever. And again to John, I was very pleasantly surprised to see that if you go up, as we have both of us have done, go up to Blackstone Edge, it's a scenic, Blackstone Edge is now described as Blackstone Edge Scenic Site. So it's now on POTA as in its own right. But also when you're operating from there, when you're sitting at the summit, you're also on the Pennine Way, so that's number 2. And the one that was new to me is the South Pennine Moors, which is another POTA site. So working in the one location, you can be working 3 different POTA sites at the same time, which must increase the possibilities of lots of people looking to make QSOs with you. And that reminds me from the meeting last night, Bob N4XAT was saying he's very, very keen to work more POTA CW. He runs 10 watts with his magnetic loop antenna, and he has worked into the UK and worked into Scotland, but he would very much like to work some club members if we go out and when we go out operating CW, and he's looking forward to getting 1 or 2 of us in the logbook. I've worked at Bob several times now, but I've never worked him when I've been out operating either POTA or SOTA. So, Pastor Mark, oh yes, just the other thing is absolutely no radio for me today. I was having the delights of plumbing in our bathroom, replacing a shower and the shower bar and plumbing it in to replace the one that was there. It all seemed to go very smoothly, fingers crossed, no leaks, working nicely, seal of approval from the XYL here. But none of that involved radio, just large bits of brass and copper pipe. So back to you, Jeff. M0 AG in the group G4IWO.
G4IWO in the group and M0 AG returning. Yeah, thanks on all the DIY there, Nick, and I hope the results work out okay when you come to actually do the test on that. Yeah, interesting on the CW side, isn't it, with the amount of stations that Bob's right. It's absolutely phenomenal, man. Every time you put on WhatsApp, Bob pops up the new certificate. It's absolutely incredible for somebody in his age group, and I know he thoroughly enjoys it. And why not? You know, it's helping to keep him young, isn't it? And that's what it's all about. Okay then, John, over to you, and obviously you've had these comments on the Zoom version, etc. G3SO in the group, M0AG.
M0AUG in the group G3SO returning. Well, yeah, I got part 1, Jeff and Nick. I got the comments on Zoom, And then Nick said, and now for John, he had some other comments for me, and at that point, he disappeared. And I got nothing else until you just come on with this, with your last over, Jeff. I don't know what happened. So I don't know if perhaps if Nick sends me a WhatsApp with that information that he was sending me after his comments on Zoom, that would be useful. I have no idea what happened. It just went silent, and it was then several minutes before I heard you pick it up there. I must congratulate Adriana on that contact with ZL. I've only ever had one contact with ZL, so that was excellent, and also very interesting about all the very low power experiments that you do in there. I did some that sort of thing about 30 years ago, building little transmitters, which I don't do anymore. But the most amazing contact I had was I built an OXO transmitter at 15 meters with, again, single frequency, 21.060, with a capacitor across to just to trim it a bit. And my first contact with that, which was never repeated, was Whiskey Echo 2 Lima in New York State, which was absolutely amazing. And I did QSL it as well. So that was half a watt, 500 milliwatts was that rig, the CW. But it used to get around Europe, no problem. And into UA9 as well. It's all very interesting stuff. It's more interesting now for me than running higher power. I just like to see where I can get with low power and be amazed that I haven't yet worked out what the power at the antenna of the receiver is. I keep meaning to do that. And then I'm going to work out how many photons that is needed to get the receiver going. It's quite fascinating once you start thinking about it. Right, I think looking at the time, Jeff, I'm probably not going to come back for another over, but I'm going to continue listening till about. I must readjust that. I'm going to continue listening until about 7:30 UTC. 7:30 UTC. It'll be 8:30 British summertime. Then I will be logging out at that point. So at this point, Jeff, I'm going to wish everybody a very good rest of the evening and 7-3. And it's all been very interesting. I'll come on again in a week or two. And Nick, could you send me a message about anything that might enable me to catch up on what happened at the AGM? That would be useful if you're able to do that. So thanks, Jeff, for hosting the net, and thank you everybody for your company. So I'm just going to say 7-3 again. M0AUG on the group, G3SAO.
So on the group M0AUG, yes, well done that, John. Quite a few breakups on that last hour, wasn't a problem at all. In fact, I think now in actual fact we're starting to take finals on this one, and Lou has already said that he's got a picture on that, and I'm assuming that next one on is Keith, who, when the time comes, has also got a photograph for the evening. So over to you at this stage before we go into that round, Keith. GM4JKZ in the group, M0AUG.
M0AUG, the group, GM4JKZ. Slowly losing my voice again. Okay then, Jeff. I forgot to say Jim's not on tonight. He's at an engineering meeting up in the Lake Buzzard area or somewhere. So that's why he's not around this evening. And I forgot to mention the macrothon that I was on at the weekend. I missed the first 8-hour session, so I only worked the 2 remaining 8-hour sessions because that runs 8 hour on, 8 hour off, 8 hour on, 8 hour off, 8 hour on, etc. across the weekend. So that was an interesting time. Congrats again to Adriana and Mike. Mike working his VK4s, 2 of, and Adriana into ZL. I've not worked that low down on the South Island as you have, so congrats on that. And I did view your little video on WhatsApp. I thought that was pretty good, pretty good. Andrew, I know there's lots of good parking places up on Exmoor. There's some sort of tracks that go down to farms, which I used to go and walk the dogs up there. So it's nice and quiet up there as well, so not too far for you to go. Plus it's Exmoor National Park, so you can use that as your basis as a starter. And Nick, you were talking about the tournament vertical with the 2 poles. I think that may have been the one that Jonathan did a video on. Because I did see that, thinking, well, yeah, verticals, that's going to be good for DX, that angle of takeoff. So food for thought on that. And you doing your shower, I've now got the second bedroom completely emptied. I'm just going to take the carpet up, put the flooring down, but before I do that, I've got the jobs of wallpapering and painting. So that's what I'll be doing next week. So with that, my only other radio activity is I'm building a standalone hotspot using some of the 18650 LiPo cells, and with a view of mounting it on the wall up here in the shack, and just to see how long those cells will last. So that's something for, I was going to say next week, but probably the week after, or even after that. But there we go. Yes, I did have a picture, and talk about it when we come round next time round. And 0 AUG from GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ, the group M0AUG. Final the reconstruction of the shower outside your Jeep there. It sounds like everybody's on a mission there. Be interested to hear on the line for what you're doing with the last one there. But as you say, we'll hear more about that during next week. So, John's already decided to sign out for that one. I think it's probably time if we go to the finals this week. There's only a handful of us on. So, over to you, Mike and Adriana in Germany. And you've got some amazing results, as usual. And you work some stations that most of us can only dream about. So, well done to you both. DL1 BJW with DL8 to BDT, M0 AUG. Over to you, Mike, for your finals, please.
Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey for the final. Yeah. First of all, not to be forgotten, thank you very much for your work in hosting the net, Jeff. Well done. And thank you to all participants for interesting thoughts and new ideas. It's always a pleasure to attend, and I'm always looking forward to Thursday evenings. That was a good net again. So wishing you all the very best. Also, just got the idea to say, Nick, I'm wishing you all the very best for your plumbing text, so to speak, for your plumbing situation. That can be really very, very awkward, and I hope everything goes well with you and your project there. So, best wishes to all of you. Have a good rest of the week, a very nice weekend coming up, perhaps a little bit of good weather for all of us, and a good start into the new week. So, 73s from Delta Lima 1 Bravo Juliet Whiskey, passing the microphone to Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango.
Yeah, this is Delta Lima 8 Bravo Delta Tango for the group. Yes, thank you very much for this interesting and informative evening, and thank you, Jeff, for hosting the net. It was a pleasure as every Thursday. And it's always interesting to hear what all of you are testing and working there. This was quite interesting. And yes, Jeff, it's a pity that you couldn't go to the convention, but it's very good that there is a possibility to follow it up on the YouTube channel. But it's not the same as being there in person. It's quite good that the possibilities with the internet make it an adventure too. So we did last year when we weren't able to go to the ham radio. We followed up several YouTube videos, and the feeling comes a little bit through it. So this is quite good. So I wish you all a pleasant weekend, good DX, and many contacts there. Hope to meet you down the log. 73 and 88 from Northern Germany. This is Delta Lima 8, Bravo Delta Tango, handing the microphone back to M0 AUG for the group.
DLAPT with DL1 PJWM group, M0 AUG returning. Yeah, thanks for the comments on that, Mac. I've had there comes a time with advancing years of the mileage and things like that, and you just have to take these decisions. That said, the live stream, it wasn't only on the YouTube channel, but the live stream that was running from the convention took account of quite a number of the significant lectures. And then in the intervals, when people were having coffee and things, there were some things that wouldn't be seen on the convention, where there were some various interviews taken with people. And that was very, very good indeed. And what will happen now is that the remaining presentations, the RSG will pass out during the year as it goes forward. So, thoroughly enjoyable nevertheless. And the good news was I didn't have a 4-hour drive home on Sunday evening. So, thanks for your contributions, both of you, as always, and we look forward to catching up with you next week. Over to you there, Andrew, for your finals, please. M0, Harwell in the group, M0 AUG.
M0 AUG, the group M0 ROL. Yeah, I can quite understand not wanting to do a 4-hour drive, Jeff. I'm afraid that my driving is sort of quite low mileage these days. It's certainly, as everyone knows, Minehead, you've got to go through bridge roads or Taunton, and it's just bottleneck these days, and traffic, roadworks, everything else. And going back to Martin Lynch's Watson, it's very rare that I leave a comment on YouTube, but I actually watched the presentation which they pushed the antenna as a HF portable antenna system. Now, in my mind, carrying 2 9-meter DX commander poles, guiding kits, and taking 2 people to put it up was not my idea of an HF portable antenna. So I did say that I will stick to my headset halfway, but maybe that's a little bit negative. I think if you're setting it for a day somewhere, there's a couple of people there around, then it may be quite a good system to use, but it's certainly not. It doesn't tick my boxes as being portable. And Keith, yes, you're right. There's plenty of nice places up on Exmoor. North Hill is so easy for me, but it's actually, I think, just outside the Exmoor National Park. But I've just looked at the weather forecast for next week, and it's not going to be good. We've got rain all week, so we'll have to see whether I chicken out or whether I actually go out there in the wife's car and just use an AmPro and sit in the car in the rain. But thanks for running the nets tonight, Jeff. It's actually quite good to be back in circulation and getting away from having cabin fever. So it's just nice to have a chat with people and making me aware of what I ought to be doing to while away my time. while I'm here. So I will leave everything with hope you all have a good week. Catch up with you next week. It's the day of my chemo read, so I may or may not be up to Sydney try. And I wish everyone 73 and catch you later. So in the meantime, pass it back to you, Jeff. M0AG. M0. Well. M0. I'm rolling the group M0AG. Yeah, thanks very much, Andrew. And I'm glad you could make it to the event this evening. It sounds very much as if being amongst the group again here is helped achieve, and that's worth its weight in gold, isn't it, anyway? So, hope to catch up with you soon, and hope you're able to be on next week when the treatment does, that's right. Okay, just acknowledging that G3SAO John is still monitoring in the background. Hope you've enjoyed the rest of it since you checked out there, John. I look forward to catching up with you on Sunday morning on the Oldham then. So what we're going to do now, we've got two photographs coming from Lou and from Keith. But before we do that, we'll just call upon Nick, our chair, to summarise the meeting, etc. Pass on any news, and then we'll go over to Lou and Keith and the pictures. G4IW in the group, M0AG.
M0AG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, I've just dropped John a private message on WhatsApp, but Rachel and I will be sending out to all our members a report of the AGM last night for those who weren't able to attend. It was very positive, I thought, and I was very, very pleased that we had a few people prepared to help out. So we've got, I'm going to train up two individuals who could take over from me if needed and when needed to run a Zoom meeting with a speaker. So that'll be interesting. That was Ken and Russell offered to do that. So I think it'll be very positive, and some nice ideas came out of the meeting. So we'll be putting that into an email to everybody. Yeah, coming up at the club in a couple of weeks' time. So on the 29th of October, we've got Peter, GM0EUL, who's going to be talking about building valve transmitters and receivers and restoring old ones as well as showcasing a little Morse key that he sells for portable work. Absolutely tiny it is. It's less than 2 centimeters long, with a little magnetic movement in it that he prints at home, and has a very, very small business selling them. And we're going to offer him the opportunity to talk to club members about that as well. I've got one, to be fair, and I enjoy using it. Lovely little Morse key. And then a couple of weeks after that, in the middle of November, 12th of November, we've got Colin MM0OPX, who now has a very, very active YouTube channel. So if on YouTube you search MM0OPX, you'll find his YouTube channel. A lot of information about antennas and builds that he's done. So definitely looking forward to him coming to speak. And then either at the end of November or the beginning of December, we've got Carl W8WZ, who's going to talk about the 3-element vertical that he's been playing with for HF work. And to Andrew, Andrew, having climbed up Sota Peak just over a year ago with a 12-meter spider pole, and as well as a 3-element VHF beam and an IC 706. I do admit the rucksack I had all this stuff in, and the pole carrying case, was quite a heavy trek up to get to the peak, but it was worth it when we got to the top. Although conditions weren't that good, everything worked extremely well. So it is possible, and I know a lot of people say they're operating portable and drive out in their cars and set up from next to a car, sometimes using some of the car as a support for a pole, with one of these drive-on masts that you can use. I mean, that's fine. It's not something that I've done. I'm probably a bit like you, Andrew. I like to go out to somewhere, as I know John G3SAO does, and put everything in a rucksack and set it up when I get there. But each to their own, and I think playing radio in any portable setting, whether you've got there by car or by bicycle or by foot, is always great fun. And one of the enormous advantages of it, of course, is a very, very low noise level. And that's what I love about portable operating, as well as being able to sit outside, look at fabulous views across hills and the countryside and so on, whilst playing radio. I don't think you can beat combining those two things together. So on that note, Jeff, thank you very much for running the net for us again, and thank you everybody for a very pleasant evening, and catch you all next week. M0 AUG in the group, G4IWO.
G4IW in the group M0 AUG. Yes, fine, and I'm making plenty of able to join us after last night as well. And, two nights on the run is a fair thing to do, isn't it? It's been interesting then this evening. I'm sorry we haven't had not one and one or two of the others there, but there were 8 of us all together. I think it was 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 of us all together, and Brian from Bolton nearly made it. I'll find out over the weekend what his comment was. So thanks again for joining us. So, over to you, Lou, for your finals, please, followed by your photograph. JKJJ in the group, M0AG. Thanks for joining us this evening, Lou.
M0 AUG in the group, JKJJ. Yes, it's been very interesting again, Jeff. All the comments, all the information was very, very welcome and very interesting. I was interested in Nick's comment about this vertical antenna that I think he said is 2-element vertical. I wonder how it compares with the Delta loop. It's worth looking into, but interesting. Thank you, Jeff, for hosting the net, and thanks to everyone for their contributions. It's been very interesting. The picture I'm sending this evening is the sort of Heath Robinson lash-up that I did over the weekend in order to try and get into the space station repeater. It's an 8-element Yagi with the Mopson Yagi on the receive side, and you'll see that it is a bit Heath Robinson, but nevertheless it worked, and it got my first contacts with that repeater. So I'll start transmitting that now, Jeff.
Thanks, Luke. Quite a lot of blocks missing on my reception over here. Over to you, Keith. I don't want you with the same, or if there's any way you can suggest to me how to improve the picture. GM4JKZ, M0AG.
M0AG, GM4JKZ. Yeah, I've got about 40% of the picture missing. And I do see that you've mounted the 8 element onto a mast. I was wondering how long you could hold that up with your Armstrong method. Yeah, I wonder if Luke could send it again. There are quite a lot of glitches on the transmission as well. So I wonder if you can fire it again, Luke.
Yeah, okay. Keith, I'll try it again. I'm sending it at higher resolution. I thought that would help, but clearly not. I'll send it again and see how that works out.
M0AG. A lot clearer that time. There's still quite a few dropouts there. I just wonder if you've got any further tips for Lou there, Keith. I don't do anything on the picture side, so I can't really comment. GM4JKZ, M0AG.
M0AG with the group GM4JKZ. Yeah, I've got a lot more of those blocks filled in now, Lou, so I can see the picture nice and clear. Suggestions-wise, I did see a quick message popped up on my phone and disappeared before I could see who put it there, but someone actually said 100% copy. So if you look on WhatsApp, you'll find out who that was, but I can see the picture nice and clear now. Apart from about 4 lines that I'm missing, which don't detract from the content of the picture. And statistics-wise, I think it's, from my perspective, if someone's receiving it 100%, it's got to be my end because I'm not running through fibre. I'm running on an EE SIM cards in a router here, so I'm running a radio link from the EE tower for my internet. M0AUG GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ M0AUG. Yeah, fine with that. I don't know, 100%. It might be the queue factor after that. I'm on fibre here and I still got the blockouts, but it's got a bit difficult. Something else that's causing that one. So, thanks for that, and I hope that's been useful for you there, Lou. So I'll just pass it over to you, and you can give your finals before we pass over to Keith for his picture. GAKJJ, M0AG.
Break.
GAKJJ, yes, fine, and thanks for the information, Keith. I think probably it's the internet this end as well that's causing the problem. But if somebody did manage to get the picture 100%, then I don't know what's happening there. But still, anyway, back to you, Jeff. M0AUG, GAKJJ.
GAKJJ, M0AUG. I think it was G4IWO who wants to come in with a comment there. Over to you, Nick.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jeff. G4IWO returning to M0AUG. Yeah, I got on the first pass from Lou, and I posted the photograph on the WhatsApp group. I got a 98% quality photograph, and when Lou sent it again, there were only 2 blocks that weren't that hadn't been filled, and they both filled in. And if you watch on the YouTube channel later on, just scroll right to the end, you'll see the photograph there very clearly on the screen. So no, very good quality, and I'm interested to hear how you get on with it, Lou. That's another story, I know. M0AG in the group, G4IWO.
G4IWO, the group M0AG returning. Yes, thanks for the comments there, Nick, and I wonder whether that was you with the comments on the quality of the picture. So thanks for that, and thank you to Lou for that. So certainly please, Lou, I look forward to catching up with you next week. And I know you'll be able to have a comment on the keys in a minute. GM4JKZ group M0AG. Your finals and picture there, Keith, please.
M0AUG, the group GM4JKZ. Yeah, fine there, Jeff. And thanks for running the net again. And very interesting to hear what everybody was saying this evening, I must admit. And I don't believe the comment that Nick mentioned last night about what goes on our channel. Okay, my picture is from Abbotsford, which is the home of Sir Walter Scott. And we took the dogs for a walk down there a few days ago when it was quite pleasant. And this is a picture from Witch's Corner. And Witch's Corner is a Scottish folklore and legend themed sculpture trail with 12-storey stops directly inspired by the writings and trailblazing research of Sir Walter Scott. Takes the name from his nickname for his favourite section of the Abbotsford Library, his collection of 250 rare books about witchcraft, magic, folklore and superstition. So I'm going to send this in high res because it is a nice picture, so I hope it does come out. So Cure X1.
Echo 70AG. Quite a few blocks missing. Nothing that detracts from the photograph there, Keith. Over to you there, Lou. JJJ.
Yeah, JKJJ returning. It's a few blocks missing, Keith. I wonder if you could send it again, because it's a very interesting picture.
Yes, okay, will do. Yes, the spider, incidentally, is now 3 feet across, so it's about a metre in diameter. Correct, sending again.
Most of the blocks cleared with me, Keith. That's absolutely super. What a lovely picture that is. Over to you, Lou.
Yeah, that's very nice. It's a great picture, Keith. I love the spider. It gives you nightmares, doesn't it? Very good.
From JKJJ, it's interesting. That's a separate area, but there's a fence between it, a wire fence, so you can hear the squeals and the screams of the kids as they turn the corner and see it. It's fascinating. And the carving of the man, or the whatever it is, that's from one whole tree trunk. So it's a fascinating place to go to, I must admit. If you look it up on the internet, Abbott's Ford, home of Sir Walter Scott, there's small photos there of the mushroom enclave, which stands about 10 feet tall, and a giant book. Kids are snuggling under, so it's a great place to visit if you're up in this neck of the woods.
M0 AUG, sorry, GM4JKZ.
GM4JKZ, the group M0 AG. Yeah, thanks very much in that, for that one, thank you. Just pass this over to Nick for any comment, G4IWO, M0 AG.
Yeah, M0AUG in the group from G4IWO. Yeah, very good quality again. Keith's first pass was 98% with me. So it's the vagaries of the internet in various parts of the country. Obviously, packets of data are being lost. But no, very, very good picture. Back to you, Jeff. M0AUG, G4IWO.
Thanks for the comments there, Nick. And thank you, Keith, for the photograph, and also to Lou for yours. And with that, I think it's time to close down the Pennine Digital Net for another week. Thank you to everybody who's been on and your contributions as well, particularly the photographs. And we look forward to catching up with you at the usual time next Thursday evening. So, M0AG saying something, and good night to everybody, and hopefully you have a good week, and look forward to your conversations